Hello guys, I'm back to this tutorial. Let's proceed with the first step. And in this stage I need to start to understand the volumes of the miniature and start to transform my idea in a real concept. My starting idea was the chef, a lobster chef, working in his truck, a dirty and very dark truck. So I will start to use Airbrush to create a bit of extra lights or to help me to understand all the volumes. So for example, we will start placing a reddish lights from the both part of the miniature, a turquoise rim light from this side, and then probably another lights or base color with my main color is that is a skin tone color from the upper part of the miniature. In this way I will have in a few minutes 3 different colors placed on the miniature that help me to 1. The skin tone airbrush step to create the main volumes on his muscles. Reddish lights from the upper for the bottom part of the miniature that give me the possibility to start to play with shadows, and then an extra color from this side with a strong turquoise to create a sort of rim light. For example, this rim light could be a sort of screen that is placed in his truck. So let's do. For this step I use Infinity CR Plus 0.2. I usually use this kind of airbrush for everything. I love this kind of brand because it's a very strong airbrush and I am not obsessed cleaner of airbrush, so I use the airbrush constantly in my process work. So I need to have a tool that gives me the possibility to work constantly without stop the process. I usually put a bit of water inside and then I just put a bit of thick color inside from the palette. In this case I start with a bit of this creamy skin tone color. For this step colors don't need to be too much diluted. I need that color have the possibility to cover the parts from the black. I usually test the airbrush on a white paper. Okay, perfect. So, let's start with the first step of airbrush from the upper part of the miniature. This step will allow me to start to understand the volumes. For example, in this case, we got color too much diluted. I need to put more color inside. I will keep this part more darker because in my opinion, is less important than the frontal part. Especially because we are painting a bust, and the most important part on a bust is for sure the face. Also in the frontal part I pushed up the contrast and the saturated side of the miniature. So I intentionally airbrushed more times this side of the face to create a bit of contrast and also a bit of dark feelings on the bust, directly with just one step of airbrushing. This is a mistake that could happen during airbrushing step, and usually a lot of people are scared from this and go into panic. I think that is not a problem. Just push a bit of hair to dry the zone and then cover it. If in any way it will create a sort of strange color or strange zone, doesn't matter. Maybe we could use this kind of mistake to create an interesting zone.
So right now you are drying the paint, yeah?
Yeah, now I'm just drying the paint. Okay, first airbrush step is done. Let's go with the other two color. To make the jump to the red, I don't clean the airbrush, I just put inside the red and water. In this way I start to create also blending. So, I just add some drop of water. And then from my palette I choose a reddish tone. Probably for this step I choose a reddish tone from my fine art color. In this way I got a bit of a gloss finish. You need to shake very well this kind of color inside the airbrush, because could happen some mistake or problem with the use. To increase a bit the coverage, I just add a bit of Chimera color red, only because I need a bit of coverage power on this step. Okay, now I just try to don't touch the mid lights or lights done in the previous step, and I try to paint with airbrush with the red only the shadows or the mid tones on the shadows. And we said that this kind of reddish color come from this part, so I avoid to paint from this or this direction. To do this, usually I remove from the plinth and I paint the figure from this side. During this step I don't care if I cover other kind of zone or material. I just need to create the first step of ambience, so I don't care. Okay, we just created another kind of lights from this part, and now we go to create the other lights. Most strongest one from the behind part of the miniature, strong lights with turquoise. I'm just drying. Okay. Now, we need to jump to turquoise, but also in this case there is no necessity to clean the airbrush. We just put a bit of water inside and start to add our turquoise color. In this way we create a sort of violet that give us the possibility to create midtones for this color. So it's not just a blue placed on the miniature. In this case I keep the miniature in this position, and I repeat the same process that I used for the zone reddish, for the reddish zone. In this case I keep more focusing only from this point of view. I try to don't touch the frontal part to create the rim light just in this line, imaginary line from the hat to the shoulder. I could use the same color to create a bit of variation on the clothes, for example. In this case I use the same color that I'm using for this darkest part to paint the first layer on the clothes. This step wasn't scheduled. I just used intuition to decide to put this kind of color in this part, just to start to create color placement, and in a few seconds I divided the cloths from the skin tone. In any case, I kept a bit of the reddish color step done in previously. I don't cover it totally, I just put another layer on. Now we proceed to put the strongest light with a quite pure full turquoise color. To do this we could use our main color, this one, or maybe add some fine art color, or for example adding to our range an ink color. For this step I just choose to use an ink color. For example, a muted turquoise is a turquoise that is undertoned, and this will give us the possibility to keep a dark atmosphere to our ambience. I put inside some drop of ink. I put also some drop of water inside. And maybe I could put a bit of our turquoise color from our palette. Just to give to the ink a bit of coverage. I try to keep a single point of view, so point of airbrushing. In this way I start to create a coherent directional lights from this point. The most important zone that I want to keep is this one. In this position I am keeping a sort of imaginary line of lights on the shoulder, and just behind I am placing a sort of Osel effect, but it's not an Osel effect, it's just ambience, it's just to create an atmosphere, a sort of feeling. During this step I need to check if from our main point of view the effect is visible. In this case it's not more visible, much visible, so we need to move a bit the line of bluish part. To do this, just rotate a bit miniature and push up the blue zone.
Matteo, it is not a problem that the inks are much more shinier than normal paint. It's not a problem for you?
No, it's not a problem because this is just an underpainting. It's just a process that gives me the possibility to start to study the figure, to start my palette, to maybe focusing on an idea or on another one. We need to say that in this case I'm painting in a very free mode, in a free way. I'm creating during paints. Will be different if, for example, this miniature was a box art related for a specific artist, or a commission related for a specific commitment. In this case, we are free roaming the painting, we are enjoying the process, we are creating something during painting. So doesn't matter if we commit some mistake, if we change idea, we need to set our mind in a free mode. Okay, we can finish our step with airbrush with the last step, with just a bit of full turquoise, just to create a spot. In this case I need to clean my airbrush with a bit of water. Let's do the last spot using a bit of pure turquoise color. In this way, in this case, I can't use it in a pure way because it's too much matte. So I will add to this mix a bit of white inks to give it a bit of a glossy effect. So I put inside a bit of turquoise, and then I add just a little drop of white ink. This white ink is a matte color, but is less matte than Chimera. Let's back to Airbrush. I just add a bit of ink from white ink. Okay, and I can create a strongest dot. Okay, for this process I try to paint in a specific direction. I try to paint with Airbrush just an imaginary line just behind our imaginary line of skin tone. So we try to create this kind of line with Airbrush. To do this, we just need to put the piece in this way and push and airbrushing from this side the miniature. Okay, our rim light effect is starting to building up. In this way, from our main view, we start to look at it. Maybe we can push a bit more. Okay, better. Okay. Our brush step is done, now let's go with brushes.